Hello and welcome everyone to our extended disc 15-minute webinar. Our topic today, I'm not ready, is on holiday joy and stressors. My name is Christina Bowser and I'm the training director here at Extended Disc. Joining me today is my colleague, Amy Lipinski. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Christina. I can't believe we're talking about holiday joy and stressors already. I think the topic's causing me some stress.
A little bit, right? So we will be recording this webinar as we do most of our webinars. So if you want to share it or you want to revisit it later on, it will be on our Extended Disc North America YouTube channel, as well as on our extendeddisc.org channel. Questions, we love questions, we love comments. Go ahead and put them in the chat room or in the Q&A section, and one of us will try to get them answered live. And if not, promise you we'll follow up with you after the webinar is over. So you heard Amy and I talk a little bit about the fact that talking about a webinar about holidays is a little bit of a stress. And, you know, we jokingly said every year it seems to creep up on us, right? I mean, all of a sudden October, where did October go? And all of a sudden it's November. It's like, oh my gosh, you know. But I think we can all pretty much agree that this year is definitely, not even just a little, definitely different. And you know, there's a kind of an air of uncertainty and change. And for some of us, you know, in relationship, of course, we're talking about disc and disc styles. Change and uncertainty is sometimes comfortable for us. In fact, it actually feels energizing and motivating with opportunities for change, while others of us feel more apprehensive and uncomfortable with that. If we haven't just outed our styles by now, you might realize that. So Amy, let's talk a little bit about, just give it an overview. Like, what do we mean? Like, how do you show up? What are we thinking about when we're talking about finding joy and minimizing stressors?
Yeah, you know, Christina, as we head into the holiday season, you know, it's supposed to be a fun and happy, joyful period of time. And I think that's what's so great about applying DISC, is we can apply it both at work and at home. And so when we remind ourselves and think about DISC and apply DISC, we just really find out how we show up. And like we said, even just the word holiday might cause me some stress, right? Recognizing how I show up is going to help me be able to put a plan together and help me to minimize perhaps some of that stress, or find ways that I can hopefully minimize it so that I have more opportunities to find joy during this season. And even applying it to family members or to coworkers, right? As we're interacting with the holidays, we have a lot of people that we see that we might not see all the time. So being able to recognize what their DISC style might be, and recognizing what some of the stressors might trigger in them, or what might help them find some joy as well. And oh yeah, Christina, go ahead.
And then, you know, in terms of the reason why we kind of created this circle of you know, thoughts, is because you know, it's very cyclical in terms of Amy saying, you know, understanding our family styles. And, you know, typically holidays are coming together with family. Sometimes we're having, you know, friends. But again, going back to the, you know, the change and uncertainty, some of us may not be with family members, or we're interacting with family members in a completely different way than we have in the past. And again, we're, you know, optimistically, this is something that is temporary. You know, maybe you're going to be doing Thanksgiving outside, you know, or maybe the holidays will be like a Zoom party or a Zoom dinner, you know, or maybe you'll just be with, you know, your kind of family pod. So a lot of it will be different, but some of the things that we can recognize is that, you know, families and friends are not perfect. And then you add in the holidays and, you know, trying to get the shopping done and coming together with people, as Amy said, that you don't see often. We talk about stress and strong emotions and how that brings out who we more naturally are. So one of the things Amy and I talk about in our trainings all the time is that strong emotions, when you're anxious, when you're frustrated, when you're pressured, when you're tired, the focus of your energies is on dealing with those emotions. So we are even less likely to adjust our style. And what happens when we don't adjust our style? Well, we fall back on the most comfortable behaviors that we have. And what tends to get us into trouble is we begin to overuse those behaviors. So, if you're someone who, like Amy, she wants, she needs her quiet time. She needs time to re-energize and refocus. She's in a kind of a group of people, she might kind of shut down, or she might become more reserved, or she might become more withdrawn, and people are like, what's going on, So remember that strong emotions oftentimes inhibit us from making the adjustments that we want to make.
And I think it also ties, I was going to say, I think it ties in perfectly too with how we started with that uncertainty and change, right? Like that in and of itself, the unique situation we find ourselves in this year can bring out a strong emotion or stress in individuals. So just keeping that in mind as we go into this holiday season, whether it be out shopping, visiting with friends, families, whatever that situation might be. And ultimately, it's all about having this preparation, having this self-awareness, so we'll know how to make adjustments. So hopefully we're minimizing these stressors and being able to find the joy in the situations in those moments.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and talk about just, based on your style, what could bring you more joy? What could stress you out? And, most importantly, how do we take this joy and how do we manage the stress better? So if you yourself are a D style, like you're one of those styles that tend to feel energized in situations where there's a lot of uncertainty or a lot of change going on, because it gives you the opportunity to make decisions and take charge. You're someone maybe in your family that everyone looks to kind of be in control. Stressors for you, if you're a D style, is that if you don't have that control, if there's a lot of things going on and decisions being made and you're not a part of it, that can be a source of stress for you. The feeling that there's some loss of productivity, that you're not being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish or have accomplished in the past. So what can you, if you are a D style, think about in terms of being more proactive? What can you practice? What can you be more consciously aware of to help you better manage stress? And for D styles, the way you show stress is that you'll become more of who you are. Remember when I said that you don't have that same focus to adjust your style. So you become more of your style. So you're very task focused, right? You want to get things done. And your belief, your perception is that, hey, when I get things done, we all benefit. So how do you come across to us? You can come across to the rest of your family and friends as being demanding, like, you're just pushing things through. You're like, let's just go, tunnel vision on getting the task done. You may forget to ask people for input. You're typically someone who likes to control the situation, and you do that by talking. So maybe you're not listening, and not everything needs to be right. Your way is not always the best way. Anything you can add, Amy?
As you're talking, Christina, all I can think about are the few times I've gone out shopping on a Black Friday for that one coveted item that is like that must-have. And I think everybody shows up and is adjusting to that D style, right? That definite, like, impatient, push out of the way, grab what I need. Let's move to our eye styles then. So our eyes are typically described as the social butterflies, very optimistic, right? So their joy in the holidays is just being around people and getting together. They're probably the ones that really appreciate and look forward to these opportunities. They like being that center of attention at a family party or holiday party in the workplace. And so remembering that given our situation, not being able to necessarily gather in large groups, or just depending on our own personal situations, not being able to gather, might take some of that holiday joy out of them, right? So their stressors are really when they're not able to focus on interacting or things are kind of routine and mundane. And so being able to help them overcome that, right? So if you're an I style, how do you tend to show up when you're stressed, right? How do you recognize those symptoms within you of stress so that you have awareness and you can hopefully do something different to help minimize that, right? My eyes, they become more of who they are. So they overly seek that attention. They want that. They're more of an emotional style, meaning that they show their emotions, right? And so sometimes that kind of goes on display. It gets magnified some. Or they become a little more disorganized or careless. They're trying so hard to focus on those interactions. So if you start to sense some of these signs of stress within you and you're an I style, think about some things that you can do. Maybe take some time, have a coffee date with someone, whether it be virtual or in person, right? Find those opportunities to bring joy back in ways that you can minimize your stress. What about our S's?
Yeah. With our S styles, this is something I personally connect to because being an S style myself. So the joys that as an S style, we love tradition. We like being able to have predictable environments, and S styles are people oriented, but they like people they know. They want those relationships. So it's opportunities to spend quality time with others. It's being able to keep promises and have those kind of one-on-one interactions. What can stress the S styles out are all these unexpected changes. The lack of tradition. Any type of discord, arguments, it's not that we ever do, right? With family members, haha. So these are your own source of stress. If you're an S style, it's not that, the point is to help you recognize that these are sources of stress for me. And that when I feel this stress, I may become more stubborn. I'm someone that's emotional, but I don't tend to show those emotions on the surface. So my family members and friends might see me as being more withdrawn. I might be overly cautious. So as an S style, the goal is to just recognize these stressors in me, what may cause stress, how I tend to show up stress for other people around me. And then that gives me opportunities to do something about it. Do I need to kind of just take some one-on-one time with someone that I'm very comfortable with? Do I need to go to another room and recharge? Do I need to find, a tradition that I can do and feel comfort and joy in that? Last but not ever least are the C styles. You want to talk a little bit about that, Amy?
Sure. So our C's find joy in organization, right? They find joy in having time for themselves, kind of just not rushing anything. They want things to be planned and they want to have time to make those plans and decisions. They don't want the last minute party to show up on their calendar. Things that are going to cause that C style stress when they don't have time to focus, right? Because they're being rushed, or they also don't like discord, those conflicts, chaos, when things are kind of up in the air, or not having enough information. That's going to also cause them stress. They want to know all the specifics. What time is the party? What date is the party? And how do they show stress when these events are going on, right? Those stressors, they tend to question everything. they tend to be the glass half empty, right? So they're going to look at worst case scenario. They're only going to trust facts, and they might just kind of withdraw. And, you know, I think about my C styles with the kind of chaos that we're going into and the changes and uncertainty in our world right now. Sometimes just having some time to mourn that, right? Some time to say, okay, I'm going to let go of something, right? And it's just going to be different. And I have to accept that. And again, finding ways that I can minimize these stressors and what can I do for myself? And how can I make sure that I take care of myself to find that joy? And that's true of all of our styles, right? That's our goal in sharing this information with everybody today, is being able to hopefully help you gain that awareness to minimize those stressors and find the joy in the holidays.
Well, thank you, Amy. What a wonderful way to summarize that. So we hope you guys find some everyday joy in your upcoming holidays and find ways to better, you know, manage your stress. We do have an upcoming webinar next Wednesday, November 11th. It's on how DISC styles prefer to communicate. So really fundamental basics of how, you know, things that you might want to deliver in your own DISC session. So please join us then. If you can't, go ahead and register anyways, and we will send you the recording after we have posted it. You can find any of our upcoming webinars on extendeddisc.org in the events tab. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at info@extendeddisc.org. Thank you, Amy. Thank you guys all for joining us today, and have a blessed and wonderful upcoming holiday.
Thanks, Christina.